Of the 120 pod. Thank you all so much for joining me again today. We're kicking off Sepsis Awareness Month by talking with my fellow Canadian sepsis sister, survivor Shannon McKenney, who survived what has aptly been called the ultimate hat trick of sepsis infections. Shannon's sepsis crisis began with a ruptured appendix in 2011 when she collapsed from septic shock, literally at her desk at work. Her gallbladder was the next one to give her trouble in October 2013. She was treated, eventually discharged, but returned with sepsis the very next day from one of the procedures that she had done to test her gallbladder. Sepsis gave her a several-year holiday until July 12, 2019, when it reared its ugly head again, this time in the form of what could best be determined as a bout of gastroenteritis. But it was really the flu. Shannon suffered yet a third bout of sepsis after developing the flu. Shannon is a vocal patient advocate, and she's a Juno-nominated vocalist. She lends her voice to singing as well as patient advocacy and research. Shannon, I really appreciate your time talking with us today, especially with your jam-packed schedule. I know that you're a sepsis researcher now for Sepsis Canada, and you're trying to go back into the workforce, and you have so much on your plate. So thank you so much for joining me today. Here with me she is from Canada. Shannon has a very, as most sepsis survivors do, as we all do, has a very unique sepsis experience, or should I say experiences. Shannon has actually developed sepsis not once, not twice, but 3 times. She went for the total hat trick here. And I'm going to let Shannon start by telling us a little bit about her story and her background. Shannon, thank you so much for being here with me on the podcast today. I was really excited to have you on and to tell our stories, your story, and to help make everybody aware about this horrible, horrible thing called sepsis. How did you come about developing it like 3 times? Let's go back to the first time you developed it. Did you know what was going on or what was happening, or how did that get started?
I had no clue what was going on, and neither did the medical community for that matter. I was at a dinner party and I got violently ill, and I never throw up, so I was like, okay, maybe I got food poisoning, right? So went home. I was in the fetal position, around in my bathroom all night, and even when I got up, I couldn't stand up straight. So I was kind of crunched over. And so my husband took me to the hospital the next day, and we were in the ER, and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. They said that I had the flu, and so I went home. I had just started a new job, and I was worried about calling in sick. So I went to work Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday is when I passed out at my desk. And I went well, obviously, I got taken back to the hospital. Again, they could not find anything wrong with me. My temperature was fine. My white blood cells were fine. I looked like death. I was an ashen gray, and my stomach was hard as a rock. And the triage nurse I credit with saving my life, because I checked in at 11 a.m. and she was leaving for the day, and she goes, "Why are you still sitting here?" And it's like, they haven't figured out what's wrong with me. So by that point, I'd already had a CT scan with contrast, and they were just waiting for the results. The nurse went and got my doctor. They looked at it, and half an hour later, I was in an operating suite. It was like, boom.
And it felt like you thought you had something like food poisoning or just,
Yeah. They told me it
yeah.
was the flu. They told me it was gastritis. Yeah. So it was, yeah, it was bizarre.
And did you know you had sepsis the first time? Like, did they say anything, or what type of an infection was it?
I
What?
had a ruptured appendix, and I had peritonitis, and yeah, that's what my medical records say.
Yes. Okay. You jogged my memory there because I knew you had sepsis 3 times and I knew the 3 causes because of doing the story that just appeared in the Lancet. Um, Viewers and listeners, I'm going to put a link to the Lancet story because Shannon's story is also in there, and it's a story that I wrote about post-sepsis syndrome for the Lancet. I forgot. So the first time it was the appendicitis,
Correct.
and you went to work with this.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Mhm.
I mean, oh my God. I had appendicitis when I was 16. I mean, that it's painful.
Oh,
It is.
extremely. Like when the doctor pressed on my belly to see if I had, I can't remember what the name of the reaction is, but I literally got up and almost swung at him. Like it was painful.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Totally. That's appendicitis, all right.
Yeah.
So they rushed you into the OR
Yeah.
and removed your appendix.
Correct.
And then so then you knew that you had your appendix removed. Obviously you had appendicitis, but they never said anything about the sepsis.
No. I was in the hospital for 11 days that time. And like, okay, so I had minor, I shouldn't say minor, I had lower lung collapse. So I was on a high flow nasal cannula for most of my stay. And they were upset with me. Like, why will you not go to the bathroom? Like, because that's how they discharge people. Like, when your bowels are functioning again, that's when they'll release you. And
Did
I'm
you
like,
poop? Yeah, it's like every nurse that comes in.
yeah, they were mad. They were bringing me laxatives and enemas. Will you do it or do I have to do it for you? Like it was like they were mean. Yeah. So
That is something that cannot be forced. I'm sorry to say.
yeah.
No. Oh my God.
Hmm.
Oh my God. So they're waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
You have a collapsed lung. Did they know about the collapsed lung?
You know what? No one informed me, but again, it's in my medical records.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You go back and you read it and you go, oh my God, is
Okay,
that
this makes
really
sense now. Yeah.
happening? Oh my God. All right. So you had just started a new job. You have appendicitis. You have that removed. When you came home from the hospital, what was that like?
Brutal. I remember saying to some friends, it's like, I do not know how mothers who have a C-section do it. Because essentially that was the surgery I had, right? So I could hardly stand up, walk, empty the dishwasher like that. This is weird. Why can't I do this? And yeah, so hats off to all your moms with C-sections raising babies. Kudos.
Yeah. It's like you're being cut in half almost.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
oh my God. Now, did you go back to work like right away or?
I tried. Pardon me. Every time I tried, I couldn't. And so when I did try, um, my boss was very, very understanding because obviously I almost died on her watch. So um, the absenteeism just got to be too much. And I'm like, I just took a knee. It's like, yeah, I can't do this. So I guess it would be, oh, no, you know what? It was the beginning of 2012 because like the reason I'm wearing a hat and sunglasses is like I'm a migrainer. So I've had migraines all my life, but ever since the sepsis, it's been brutal. So I ended up quitting in 2012 because I couldn't control the migraines. And this current migraine that I have started in 2018. I have not had any let up from it. It's day in and day out.
Are you on any medication for it? Like, I'm sure they've tried some things.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately for me, Botox works. That's- So,
It works for a lot of people. Isn't that something?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But as far as trying to find a pharmaceutical, like there's these new class of drugs called CGRPs, they don't work
Yeah.
for me. The only thing that works sometimes is a new one called Nurtec. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Today's the day it doesn't.
Migraines are so debilitating and people just don't get that. I mean, they rule your life.
Yeah, yeah. It's a sunglasses inside kind of day. Yeah.
Yeah. I was on Imitrex before my colon perforated. And the weird thing was when my colon perforated and I had half of it removed, I never got another migraine since. I've been starting to get some recently with some health problems, but when I tell people that, it's always with the caveat of I would not recommend that as a treatment for migraine. But it is something I've discussed with my gastroenterologist saying, look, maybe migraines are somehow connected to the gut. I mean, I think the gut rules everything personally. So,
You're so right. You're so right. Because like that's part of the healing is getting that gut microbiome healthy. And the vagus
yes.
nerve is obviously well, I shouldn't say obviously, but is the longest nerve in the brain. So it's like, it got damaged during my surgery. And so, to this day, I have trouble. I have like it's called gastroparesis. So I literally have a broken gut.
And gastroparesis, I know some of the listeners here have chronic conditions, including gastroparesis. That is a slowing of the processing of your food and digestion, right?
Correct.
So it goes really slow.
Hmm.
And it can lead to all sorts of problems like chronic constipation and you feel full all the time, so you don't want to eat and you lose a lot of weight, right?
Correct. Yeah. I haven't lost so
It's
much weight lately, but no, at one point I was down 30 pounds. Hmm.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And it's not, yeah, it does sound like the dream. Oh, I can lose weight so easily, but no, it's not. No, it's not. I mean, you got to have, full use of your gut for sure. The, the second time, the second time occurred when? The first time with sepsis was 2012, right?
2011.
2011.
And so
Couple
then
years pass,
I never got
and
better.
yeah.
I never recovered from the ruptured appendix. And so then I started having issues with my gallbladder. And so anytime I would eat anything too fatty, I'd get these like harsh, sharp punches in the right side of my body that make me scream. And so I went back to the doctor. This time my gallbladder needed to come out. So they would never do it when it was inflamed. Like when I was in the emergency screaming, we got to wait for it to settle down. All right. So I had that surgery scheduled in October 2013. And I thought, okay, this is the magic bullet. I'm going to have this taken out and everything's going to be great. No, it actually kind of got worse. Like again, it was another surgery I couldn't recover from. And then that Christmas, like we turned to naturopathy at this point. So I was at the naturopath. I was doing a Myers bag, which for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a saline bag with like lots of like vitamins in it. And I started having a seizure. And so, and then I remember my husband driving me back because we were far away from our home at this point, and I was just like moaning in pain. And he's like, "Can you be quiet?" I'm like, "No, I can't. I'm in that much pain." So we went back to the hospital, and this time I had a sludge in my common bile duct. And so I was given an ERCP, and which is goes through your mouth down into your stomach, and then they were able to clear out the common bile duct. And that was over Christmas. I was the last procedure done. It was so eerie in that hospital. And so then I stayed in over Christmas, and then I was released on the 27th. And then the next day when I got up, I could barely get myself out of bed. And so somehow, I don't even remember how I got back to the hospital that time. But now I had sepsis. So all these times, I didn't have a fever when my appendix ruptured. I didn't have a fever when I had sludge in my common bile duct. Now I had a fever, and it was 37.6. 38 is generally what they call a fever. And so I wasn't even a full fever, it was a mild fever. But they knew,
That's Celsius, right?
and
38
yes,
Celsius.
Celsius, that's correct.
Yeah. So
Um,
Fahrenheit. Do you know what that is, Fahrenheit?
let's ask
We need
Google.
to Google. We need to Google. I think it's pretty hot.
37.6 in Fahrenheit.
Okay, what
99,
was that?
99.68. So not even 100 degrees.
Yes. So you're
Yeah.
running a fever this time.
Yeah.
And this
So,
was the bile duct in your gallbladder, right?
yeah.
That had the sludge.
Hmm.
Okay, not the liver, the gallbladder.
Yeah. Well, the
Right.
gallbladder
Okay.
was already gone. So the common bile duct feeds the liver. So
Yes.
when it got blocked, my liver essentially got poisoned. And so when I came back with sepsis, my liver enzymes were in the thousands. They're not supposed to be in the thousands. And I remember I triaged, I got put into the waiting area, and then I just doubled over and screamed at the top of my lungs. And people came running from every which direction, grabbed a limb, put me on a stretcher, and then I don't remember what happened. Um, yeah, then I got put on a ward, but I wasn't even, um, I was in a hallway. Like everything was just so busy that there was no bed available. So I had to stay in the hallway for 18 days. Yeah. And then they did every possible test. And one of the tests was a CT scan. And they thought that I had this cancer called pseudomyxoma peritoneae, which is essentially when your appendix ruptures, it releases mucus in your abdomen that spreads and eventually starves all your other organs. So this was, the doctor came in to let me know January 1st at 10 a.m. The doctor's on call. It was New Year's Day, New Year's Eve the night before. And so it's like, oh, geez, something's major is going on here. So for the 12 hours they thought that I had this cancer, I had a bed. But then after they figured out, no, she does not have this cancer, then I was back in the hallway.
Oh my God. Happy New Year to you too.
Yeah, it was a
Then,
good one.
right?
Hmm.
Wonderful, memorable New Year. My God. So was it like a post-op infection or from like,
Yes, so this one was caused by the medical procedure. So the ERCP that went down my throat into my stomach, that is what invited the pathogen in. So any medical procedure, like I joke about cosmetic surgery all the time. My days of elective surgery are over. I am not inviting any pathogens into my body.
and the GI tract is the one organ that is connected to the outside world.
Yeah.
Like all of our other organs are in it, but it's so easy to introduce a pathogen in our mouth.
Hmm.
And, I mean, oh my goodness. And I've heard of the URSIPs or URSIP, I think. Yeah. And so you developed sepsis from that. And this is almost within a 2-year time frame.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then third time.
Third time. So this was, I was released in 2014, and now I was really disabled. Like I never, I shouldn't say never. I didn't regain my strength. Like anytime I'd walk, I was like breathless. Um, I had needed help showering. I needed help doing household chores. So I got a maid for the first time, so that was awesome. Um, but then,
You got lemonade out of lemons.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, I was a singer in a past life, and so the guys were doing a reunion show, and they asked me if I'd be up for it. I said, I would love to. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do because, like I said, I'm breathless doing everything. So I don't know how I can sing and dance, but I'll give it a try. So I went, did awesome, and then I got invited to be part of an indigenous band. And here in Canada, we have Junos. You guys have Grammys, but we have Junos. And we were nominated for a Juno Award. And so I was able to do that. But people just see me on stage. They don't see me going home. Do you know what I mean? So it's like my brother, God bless him, he was taking care of me at that time. And, I would do a show and then I would be so out of it. He would have to help me check into my air, like my flight to go home. Because I could not, I was so exhausted. I just could not figure it out. Sometimes they would have to wheel me off the plane because I was just so, like the post-exertional malaise is ridiculous. And so then COVID hit, killed the band. But prior to that, I had gotten sepsis in July of 2019. And that was from the flu, just your regular influenza A or B, you know. And that was a scary time.
Yeah, the flu, I meet so many people. If you read the stories on, Sepsis Alliance, or you see that there are so many people who develop sepsis from the flu, and especially little kids.
Mhm.
Um, and I get where you're coming from, because this podcast also, we look at chronic illness, and chronic illnesses and permanent disabilities often come as a result of having had sepsis. And when you described singing, and you put, it's like anyone listening should understand, or we need you to understand, that having a chronic illness, yeah, we can look great. Hidden disabilities, uh, you can't see it. But if you could see inside here, we're basically propping ourselves up. You were basically propping yourself up enough to get through that show. And then after, you collapse. I
Mhm.
mean, when I write an article, I'm out of it for a week or two after. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I turned it in. The editors got it, and now I'm gonna go die. Now is what I sometimes will tell. I gotta go crash,
Yeah.
um, because you're just kind of holding yourself up just enough.
Mhm.
And the people, many people, do not see you afterwards. They don't see what comes as a result of trying to expend any kind of effort, especially singing. I mean, because that does take a lot. You had a collapsed lung before too, and that takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, I've been walking and incrementing my walks since 2016. And I'm getting my lung strength back. But the atrophy, I can't build muscle for the life of me. I'm 52, so obviously that's not part of it. But I take collagen. It's ridiculous. Once the muscle's gone, it's really, really hard to rebuild.
Very hard. You
Mhm.
can lose muscle very fast, but it's
Yeah.
very hard to rebuild. And I remember looking at my arms in the ICU bed, and they were like noodles, like not just my old age chicken wings here, but they were noodles, like the skin just was hanging off bone. And they told me to walk, and I laughed and said, "Where? How? I can't. I couldn't." It was like my feet were magnetized to the ground. And, but I think what was so profound when, for the story, you're contributing the part about not being able to even unload the dishwasher. That's
Yeah.
profound weakness and fatigue right there.
2 plates at a time was my max. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine ever being that weak because I've been athletic all my life. So yeah, it just I, you know what? And I'm a lucky survivor. Like people lose limbs from sepsis, you know?
And need transplants, kidney transplants,
Yeah.
especially because this goes after the kidneys. And so the third time when you developed sepsis from the flu, did the doctors tell you then? I'm trying to recall from the article. Did they tell you then that you had sepsis?
Yeah, that was like the best time as far as that goes.
I was smiling. I saw him go by
I know.
earlier. He snuck right behind you. That's why I was smiling in that very dire moment that we were talking about. But so they did tell you. They did tell you the third time.
Mhm.
Yes, you had sepsis.
I had a student doctor and he was unbelievable. Like I was in the hospital for 3 days that time, and I don't think he ever went home. Like he was just always there. Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
And did you know what sepsis was when, you finally heard the word?
I started my adult life training to be an RN, and back then, yeah, sepsis is a blood infection, and that was kind of all we ever got. So that's what I knew, and yeah, and it wasn't really until like 2021 where I wasn't getting better. Like, why am I not getting better? And so then I'm in so much pain, I can't sleep. And so, you turn to Dr. Google. And so I was researching all night, every night. And it's like, that's how I got in touch with the Sepsis Alliance and Sepsis Canada. And then I ended up taking the Sepsis Canada lifting training program. And now I'm trained to be a sepsis researcher. And so that's
That's awesome.
yeah, it's so fulfilling. Like I finally understand why and how everything has happened. And this may be as good as it gets. I'm trying to go back to work, but I mean, I don't know what's going to happen day to day. Like, I was hoping to look pretty today. I do not have the energy to do glam. So I thought, you know what? We're talking about sepsis. This is the reality. Sometimes you just got to put a hat and sunglasses on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I've done the same thing. It's just, you do whatever you can just to get through the day.
Yeah.
And if you have those migraines or if yeah, you got to block them out.
Mhm.
But I think people do need to see more of the reality. Um, that this is what it is because even when we're on social media, we're showing what is it they call it, the Instagram highlight reel, and our lives aren't exactly a highlight reel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hardly. um
Have you ever noticed you get lots of likes when you post something positive, but you get nothing when you post something real,
yeah.
right? Hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
now we don't want to deal with that.
I
no
know.
one no one wants to see that. But it is what the reality is of our lives about 75% of the time.
Mhm.
And you know that's what I had wanted to ask you too, and I think you've already discussed it, but has the fatigue been the most challenging part of trying to get your life back?
You just don't know. Like I call myself like I'm like an old cell phone. I don't quite work right. I don't charge properly, and whatever battery I have runs out quickly. So I call it hitting the wall. And it's like, I don't know when it's going to happen. And so there's a lot of nights where my husband has to help me to bed because I'm that done. I can't get from my couch to my bed. It's wild.
God, I've been there.
Yeah, I know
I've
you
been,
have.
I've been there. Oh my gosh. Just the other night, I was there. It's like 3 in the morning. I still didn't want to get off the couch. Um, so what should our audience know? Especially, oh, but wait, I want to back up a second. Did you tell your doctors that you read that you had had sepsis the other two times? Like, is everything straight now with your doctors that they know what you know and you know what they they know? Do you know what I mean?
Hmm. I didn't have a GP for the first two times. So I got a GP in 2014 after the fact. He sent me to an internist because we were still concerned about that cancer. Because once you hear cancer, like you don't forget it, right? So I really had mental challenges getting over having been told that. So this internist told me then, like, okay, you've been through a lot, but this may be as good as it gets. I'm like, okay. So, I might be, oh, sorry, my cat just
Oh,
bought a bottle.
oh no. My dog is actually sitting here right beside me, and boy, is he being quiet, and I'm so thankful for that right
Yeah, my destroyer kitten. Um,
now.
yeah, but now like I brought up like post sepsis syndrome with my doctor. Not a clue.
Yeah. No one knows about it.
Mm-mm.
I was only lucky with my primary. She didn't bring up post-sepsis syndrome, but I remember sitting there crying in her office because I cried every day. So, it was like pick a day. If you saw Jackie, she was crying. So I was crying in her office. And, a lot of doctors will write you off, especially if you're a woman, that you're hysterical and emotional instability and all of that. But she said, no, she said, you were through a trauma. And I remember just kind of have my head in my hands and looking at her and going, really? Seriously, like I'm not losing my mind. And that was what it was. And that whole article, which by the way is getting shared a lot of people are sharing that post sepsis syndrome
Awesome.
piece. And it's not surprising because so many of us, when you recover and you survive sepsis and you recover from it, you're living in a vacuum, you're alone, right? It was you and your
Totally.
husband.
Hmm.
And it was me and my husband and my two daughters who were living with us. And they did go back off to, well, the one had just graduated college, the other went back to college. So it was my daughter, my husband, and I, and it was COVID. It was the height of COVID, so no one else could intermix anyway. But you're alone, so you're all alone, and you don't know that other survivors exist, let alone what you just survived or what sepsis is. And it's really post sepsis syndrome is something that we have to put on the radar of doctors and nurses and medical providers everywhere, physical therapists, anybody whose office we will wind up in after recovering from sepsis needs to know about post sepsis syndrome, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that, looking back, and this is kind of what I'm working towards right now, is like mental health needs to be part of the discharge care plan for anybody with a critical illness. The PTSD of the trauma that you've just been through, it's insurmountable. Like it's hard to get past. And so, we're so worried about having homeostasis with our vitals, but we got to start looking after our mental health better. Just look
We have to
around.
have homeostasis up here too.
Hmm. Exactly. We're in a mental health crisis regardless, right? So mental health needs to be the forefront of our care.
Especially with someone like you, and sepsis survivors are often become repeat offenders, I like to call it, that you develop sepsis again.
Hmm.
And someone like you who just kept getting beat down by sepsis, it was sort of like you got it, then you got back up and trying to go through life again, you get hit with it again and then hit with it a third time. And you're just, it's up and down and up and down. That's not something for the faint-hearted, for sure.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, maybe I should just stay down this time. But I mean, I understand, like, okay, yes, I've had it 3 times, but I mean, that's the trajectory for any sepsis survivor. It's like it is up and down. Like, it's not like you've had sepsis and you're just going to get better and better and better. No, it's up and down. And it's like, I coming from the mental health aspect, when you get down, it's like, okay, I've been here before. I know how to get back up. And it gets easier and easier each time. So anybody that's really struggling, we see you. There's tons of us here to help you. Just join the community and we'll help you through it. But it's going to get better.
Especially, by going on Sepsis Alliance and signing up for the Connect program and interacting with the other survivors on there. I mean,
Hmm.
you definitely don't feel alone then,
Yeah,
and you don't
no,
feel crazy anymore
yeah.
because you see that we're all like this.
We're all like
Every,
this. Come on, join us. We're a great group.
yeah, join the club. I mean, and it really is what's, helping us hold on is knowing that we're not alone.
Hmm.
And knowing that other people get us and they understand us. And you know hopefully, like I said, through the article, the more signers on the petition, I did see about 100 more people signed
Right on.
that petition
Hmm.
to put sepsis, post-sepsis syndrome under the radar of the WHO so that,
Love it.
it can be recognized like long COVID was,
Mhm.
and just so that more doctors are aware. I think one of the other people I had interviewed, I think it was Dawn, said the hospitals can't cure it when they discharge us, but just warn us and let us know, because otherwise we just sit there at home biting our fingernails off going, I'm crazy and life is never going to be good again, ever.
And for those of you who don't understand why it's so important to get post-sepsis syndrome actualized and represented, is because it's hard to get disability. Like, it's disability is not very much, but it's enough to maybe get groceries for your family, right? You can't live on it. It won't pay your rent. Um, but if you don't have the diagnosis, you're not going to get disability, and you're going to lose your house, which I did, So
Oh, when you told me that,
yeah,
my heart broke into a
yeah.
million
Like
pieces.
you work all your life, right? To have the family, to have the house. And it's like my sepsis experience took away my option to have children, to even adopt children. And then, well, we didn't need this big house anymore. So it's like, we were forced to sell it. So I guess we count our blessings in that we did sell it versus it foreclosure, you know, but it was in a down market. So, but whatever. It's all good. We're
And
here. We're
how
happy.
many people, do lose their homes because they
Hmm.
can't get on disability. I know in the US here, like it took me 3 years back when I first became disabled prior to sepsis. It took 3 years of appeals, and it's not easy. And then when we went through the sepsis crisis, it was my husband and I both disabled. Kids, two had just graduated college. They're not working yet during COVID. I mean, hardly anybody was.
Yeah.
And my other daughter going back for her last 2 years. And the college helped her out, um, because, you know, there was a good chance she would have had to turn around and come back home. And, people ask me, oh, did you not have enough medical coverage? But that wasn't it even at all, because I did have the medical coverage. It did cover the hospitalization. But something that people don't realize also for sepsis survivors, after you survive, I had to go to doctors like 3 a week in Washington, D.C. I had to go to Baltimore. We had a 16-year-old minivan. It was every time we used it, it needed repairs. The air conditioning went out. Oh my God. That was like a $2,000 repair. And my husband and I were putting it on these high limit or low limit credit cards with high interest rates. And what I've learned in talking to other sepsis survivors is so many other survivors have had to do the same thing, because it's all the expenses related to your care post sepsis, the travel, the meals. One survivor, she's waiting for a kidney transplant, may have to go to another state for that. And you got to have a family member, usually the spouse, come with you, and that spouse can't work during this time. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to look into starting something maybe in the next year or two. I would hope to get a foundation off the ground that would help sepsis survivors financially
Well,
after
especially
they
in the
survive.
States, because like you said, like every doctor's appointment costs money. Like I'm dumbfounded by the amount I'm out in Canada. Like surviving sepsis is not a cheap disease.
No,
No.
no. And like I said, even if your healthcare coverage covers it, you're going to be paying for the other things, prosthetics. Like people in the amputee communities, their insurance will cover prosthetics, I think, to an extent. But the really high functioning prosthetics,
Hmm.
the really nice ones where you could maybe actually have a better quality of life with, it doesn't cover everything on those.
Yeah,
And it doesn't cover time off for spouses who have to take time off work to help you recover or to come to the hospital and see you. And there's so much. Sepsis hits you with a very big expense, health
agreed.
coverage or not. Yeah. Um, what are some of the things that you're doing? Tell us about your work with Sepsis Canada. When did Sepsis Canada get started? I just found them on social media like last year, I think.
I'm gonna say probably 2020. I don't quote me on that. I'm like I said, I found them through Dr. Google, and yeah, it's really been life changing because like I was kind of sitting where I am, waiting to die. It was like, okay, life's not going to get any better. I've been told that, so it's just like, and then when Dr. Fox Robichaux, who's the scientific director from Sepsis Canada, got in touch with me, I felt like I was being pranked. Like it was like, why do you want to talk to me? And just getting the patient experience. Like if the medical community knows what happens when you have sepsis, but they don't know the recovery. So that's why being a survivor, surviving sepsis is your PhD. And it is very important to the medical community in doing research. And so that's kind of what I'm doing now. And like you were talking about, when you first woke up and they wanted you to walk, and you're like, I can't. They're doing research that you can, like, those little cubbies or the ellipticals that go under the desk? You can be
Yes,
sitting on the couch and just moving your legs. They do that while you're unconscious in the ICU because the moment you get moving, the better your prognosis is going to be. So that's why they try to get you moving so fast.
that's
And
awesome.
right? And sepsis is a systemic infection, so it affects everything, like your brain, hence the migraine. Um, but it creates tiny clots throughout your body. So you need to get that blood pumping, or you're going to get a blood clot and then perhaps die. So motion is lotion. No matter how bad you feel, just even if you're just sitting here moving your legs, do it.
I've seen those little
Yeah.
ellipticals for the,
Mm,
and that's awesome that they can use them in the ICU
I know.
because that keeps your circulation going and, that's going to help so many things. And I
Agreed.
think that's what it is too when you wake up when you've been lying just flat on your back for a few days. That's hard to get back up
Oh
again
God.
after that.
Yeah,
And all the fluid you're given and everything, it just, yeah, makes you feel like 20 tons heavier trying to move your body,
for
which is
sure.
really hard.
Hmm.
Yeah. Are there other things like, um, what are some of your hopes for the future of sepsis patients and sepsis awareness? Like, are there things that our medical providers or communities should know? Um, what would help sepsis survivors recover the most, do you think?
Well, being designated is one. So in the States, you have a code that goes on your chart that says you're a sepsis survivor. So should you come back to the hospital again, oh, this person's susceptible to sepsis. Let's get that checked right away, right? That could have been very helpful for me on my second and third infections. And once you've had sepsis, you're susceptible to having sepsis again. So that's why that's so important. I already talked about mental health needs to be part of the care plan, um, because you're isolated, you're alone. The trauma is substantial, and it's just like, oh my God, I used to be a functioning human being, and now I can't even do the dishwasher by myself. Like it really takes a toll on your self-worth. So, you know, the group that you lead, the Invisible Disabilities Group on Sepsis Alliance, you know, it's very helpful because people look at me, it's like, well, what's the matter with you? Why can't you get better? It's like, well, there's other things going on. And it's just nice to have a safe space to talk about it. Um,
We
and
all get each other there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just like you said, like the support of knowing there's other survivors and being able to find uh, community with each other. It's like, okay, these are my people now, you know? Yeah,
Exactly. I love that. Yeah. These are our people
yeah,
and they're helping us live our best lives to the best of our abilities, whatever that is.
yeah, yeah.
Because whatever it is, We are enough.
Hmm.
And listeners and viewers should know that too. You are
Yeah.
enough. I know a lot of people with chronic conditions, it's hard, and you feel we're a society and a world that's so based on productivity and what can you do and what do you do for work and what if you don't work and what if you're chronically ill? That doesn't make you any less worthy as a person.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
are enough.
Hmm.
Totally. Shannon, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here today, especially with your health struggles and everything. I really appreciate you and love chatting with you all the
I
time.
I said this in a post online. You are a beast. Like you go above and beyond to raise awareness and advocate for everybody. Kudos to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Shannon. And like I said, kudos to you. You're trying constantly every single day, and you are out there you're on LinkedIn, you're on socials, Instagram. I'll put all of your connections and your handles here. Follow Shannon. She's got a lot of great things to say. And I love the post too on LinkedIn. What was the one with the creams? I think the face cream. I'm
Yeah.
swearing by L'Oreal for
Yeah.
right now. It's
Mhm.
it's working, I think.
Yeah, it
Whatever it takes to make us feel better,
is.
look better.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Life is short, kids. Just live it up and do it the best way that you can. Chronic illness, sepsis survivors, all of us. We can all
Yeah.
do it. Never give up. Shannon, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
And thank you everybody for tuning in again today.